Good evening, Oksana.
Hi, Ruth.
That's a long time ago.
We met in Odessa.
Yeah. I remember very well. I think it was 2016 or so. I'm not sure, but
it was great. It was great
yeah.
experience.
Actually, yes. I'm very glad you are here. So Orissa and I will change places in a minute. So Orissa will come to sit here, and I'm going on her computer, and then we have some improvisations because her daughter. This is also a bit of how it works. She's 3.5, so it's staying now with us. So. But how are you?
Thanks. As it could be here now.
It's a strange question these days, huh? How are you?
Yeah.
It's Orissa.
Lisa, hi.
Shall we keep it this way, or do you want to sit here, Orissa?
I think I hope it will be okay.
Okay, so we keep it like this. Okay, so Orissa is in the lead this evening. So we do this together. And so normally she should have this background of me. Yeah, that was the idea. So, but okay, we do it like this. Then I give the word to you, Orissa. I think that's the best thing to do.
But shall we start maybe with the regular beginning, right?
Yes, the regular beginning. So you know, Oksana, this is live streamed. And so it's not that many viewers, but we also record it, and then we add it to our other 16 episodes we already have. So
Great.
Okay, it's to you.
Hello, everybody. We continue our weekly discussion about Ukraine and Ukrainian events. And today, after the day 100, it's already 107, I suppose, 107, yes. We are talking about art, memory, and war. And our guest is Oksana Dovgopolova from Odessa. Oksana is a doctor of philosophy, a close friend of ours. And maybe before we start, Oksana, a few words to you to present yourself.
Thank you very much, Orissa. My greetings to you. Thank you for invitation, and it's my pleasure to meet with people in Netherlands. And so, a few words about me. I'm now in Odessa. It's a city in Ukraine near Black Sea. I work in Odessa National University at the Department of Philosophy, and my specialty is philosophy of history and memory studies, and I'm curator of a platform of culture of memory, past, future art. And now I'm dividing my activities between this academic sphere and the practical sphere, because after 2014, I understood that it's not enough to be only in university, it's not enough to be in academic space. If I work with memory, if I work with philosophy of history, I ought to go out to wide audience, because in 2014 I saw that history and memory could be used as weapons, and people kill one another using these historical argumentation. So my main task was to go to people and to take weapon from the hands of history and memory. So maybe it's slightly naive, but I work in this sphere for 8 years from the beginning of the war in Ukraine. So it's about me.
we will continue with this topic. I think it's quite interesting as the topic for discussion about the memory and how we work with memory and memory studies, and especially in the situation of real political conflict, of a real war, and that really where the memory becomes a weapon. Meantime, I want to ask you, how was the last week in Odessa, in Ukraine, for you personally?
For me personally, the last week was quite normal. For country at all, it was very hard week because we now in a very very hard situation, really, because we have no enough powers to organize контрнаступ, як це буде англійською, the active phase of the war. So we are now in a situation when forces of Russia and Ukraine are staying at the same place and very very hard battles we see now near Severodonetsk and a few cities of Ukraine. So in Odessa we have only cruise missile strikes nearly each day, and each day we have signals of other defense, and so it's our routine. It's our routine, and each night we listen. Each of us listen the work of our air defense. So they are successful, but regrettably not in each case. Not in each case. So Odessa stays in such a place. It's a very important city for Russia, and they constantly promise to conquer Odessa because we have very important port, and we are at the road to Prидnestrovia. It's this part of Moldova, which is temporarily occupied by Russian troops too. So they want to have this direct road between Crimea, Pridnestrovia, Russia, and so Odessa is a very important point for them. But we are happy to have such a wonderful neighbor city as Mykolaiv, who fights very strong, really very strong, and defends Odessa from surrounding. And so we are very thankful for people in Mykolaiv, for army in Mykolaiv, because they allow us to live without constant shelling, without fighting on our streets, and so on and so forth. But from the first days of the war, now last week we don't see these ships, but from the first days of the war, we saw at the horizon military ships of Russia, because they came and showed themselves to frighten people in Odessa. So they showed their power, they showed that we are near, and they tried to show Odessa, to demonstrate Odessa their military power, and to show that they are near and want to conquer us. Last week was not very rich for events. It is rich for fears, for hopes. Now, today, we have a dreadful news from so-called Donetsk People Republic, where they started Боже, Odesa, суд. Court. Because our military people from Azov, they are now there in Donetsk People Republic, so-called, and they decided that 3 persons from Azov prisoners will be killed. So it's dreadful news, and so we have no great events on front, but we have constant battle. So the situation is so.
How is the mood among the Odessians? You say that.
So you see, really, immediately after the beginning of the war, we saw a great solidarity between people, because people gathered, people helped to prepare this protection. So these military engineering people united, and now we keep this mood, but people are tired, we understand. So we in Odessa have many refugees, nearly now 35,000 of refugees are now in Odessa. Who stayed in Odessa. So many people went through Odessa in active phase of evacuation. Sometimes it was 1,000 people in a day. In our railway station, only in railway station, we had such evacuational trains, and it was 1,000 people each time. So people united, they organized volunteering centers in railway station to meet people, to help them. And today, when I moved to university, we have exams today. I moved near the our biggest volunteering center in Odessa, and I saw a wonderful inscription near the entrance. You are not refugees, you are guests of Odessa. Such a phrase to support people, not to allow them to feel themselves as people without home, with nothing left. And you're not refugees, you're only guests of Odessa. So you're welcome. We are ready to help you. So we have many people who really need help. Some people had opportunity to move here by their own cars. They have a job, they have something, but somebody lost everything. And we have now here many people who lost everything, and they really need help. And people unite themselves to organize their life, to help to find a job. So really, we have such a great level of solidarity inside Odessa, and really, it's such a it's such a background of fear, because really we have these Russian ships. Even if we don't see them, we know that they can launch their missiles from Crimea, from Caspian Sea, and so on and so forth. So it's if you go by the street of Odessa, sometimes you don't understand that it's a city in situation of war, because people keep their normal behavior. They're not with such face serious. They smile. You can listen jokes because it's normal for us. It's hard to describe the mood in Odessa by one sentence or one word, but the city is changing now, and we feel it.
Oksana, you are a philosopher, but you work with artists too. And I want to start our conversation with this question. We know that art is another way to live through some experiences, and especially traumatic experiences are really the ones that become really a source for artists. For you, for what you observed in the last 3 months, how was it with the artists? What can you share with us some observations, maybe, of your mutual cooperation with them, or just your reflections on what you see around yourself?
Thank you for this question. It's really very interesting sphere. For last years, maybe I constantly work with artists, because my project Past Future Art is a project which connect the work with the past and artistic practices, because artists can catch better than people in academy, for example, some essence of some moods, some emotions which are important for working with the past. Yes, and so it's a field of my work. So I try to observe the situation now. And really, now we have even new exhibitions, because artists are very, very active. Not all. I know that some artists are silent. So from the beginning of active phase of the war, they are in situation of silence. They somebody said for me that I can't work. I can't work. I'm absolutely silent. Other artists, contrary, very active, and they are working through their own experience with their practices. And maybe if you will allow me to share the screen, maybe I will show some works. No, I have no right. Hold disable participant screen sharing.
Just a minute, I will give you the right.
Okay.
Because I'm host, so
yes.
okay. I think you can now share, and we got this in the, when we added the video, we got this part. So it should work now.
Yes. So, for example, here is a work of Nikita Kadan, one of the most interesting artists of Ukraine, who worked for many, many years. He worked with the theme of past, and he worked with the metaphor of poisoned landscapes. And these poisoned landscapes of Nikita Kadan earlier were connected with the tragedies of the Second World War. And these landscapes which hide the crimes of distant past. And now we see that these shadows of dead people appear on the works of Nikita. Can you see the next?
No.
Yes, we can see Oksana.
Do you see the work of Nikita or the second?
The first one.
The first. So maybe I ought to stop sharing and to share. I hadn't prepared the special presentation.
Doesn't matter.
Do you see now?
It's in the process of sharing. No.
No?
No.
I will go the other way.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yes, it's a work of artist with the name Kinder Album. She is it's a female artist, and her experience of the war goes through the images of naked people, of naked women, who is opposing military men, military machines, and she has different works working through this span. This readiness of people, of naked people who have no weapon, to oppose this great military power who came to Ukrainian land. So, for example, this work of Polina Kuznetsova, I will show you. Polina Kuznetsova now has a series of such works which connected landscapes and the symbols of weapons, of missiles, or of something. And here in this work, I see such reflections to works of Francisco Goya. So this his work when people are fighting under the land, so they are in dead fighting, and in some flight or in some jump, and they are in this situation, and we have such associations with this fighting, and in works of Polina Kuznetsova, this black fabric, it's a hint for fabrics used by Russian army for dead soldiers. So they prepared this black sacks for dead soldiers, and in imagination of Ukrainians now, when we see such black fabric, we have associations with dead Russian soldiers, really. So it's a cloud. It's a deadly cloud with weapons falling to the land. So many Ukrainian artists now use this motif of overlapping of few levels of optics, landscape, map, such things, because we very often look the military videos, army videos, when on the screen we see a landscape, but it's a screen of some military engine with lines for seeking the target, and we all look these videos because we look the reports of our army, and artists try to work through their own emotions, maybe one more work. Where is it? It's work of Alevtina Kahidze. Alevtina Kahidze, she's a wonderful Ukrainian artist, very reflexive. And she spent the first months of the war in a village near Kiev. She lives in Muzici. It's not far from Kiev. And nearly 2 months she sat the basement of her house with her dogs, with her husband, really. And she has 2 big dogs to lullabies, and she listened constantly the sounds of shelling from territory not far from Muzici, from her own village. And when the information about Bucha massacre was opened, she created a series of the works about her own emotions, because Bucha is in 47 minutes by car from her house. And she understood that these dreadful events, this dreadful massacre was so near from her house. And she, in her village, she stayed, many people went to evacuation, and she is artist, and not always her neighbors understood her practices, and they had some conflicts. And now they are very thankful for Alevtina, because she stayed in Muzici, and she helped she looked over the houses, she fed animal, dogs, cats, maybe hens, I don't know. And now her neighbors understood that she's a normal person. She's artist, but she's normal. her behavior is normal. But it's a joke. She's really very strong artist who can show these emotions. And yesterday I read an information. So I show these work, and I read an information that one European institution refused to show the exhibition of Ukrainian artists with these work of Alexina Kakhidze, because they said, it's a war, it's not our theme. We want to organize exhibitions devoted to the unification of Europe, to friendship, to some. So it's not our focus. We don't want to open exhibition with such works, and our Ukrainian artists are slightly offended because we in Ukraine think that it's one of the main themes who could be discussed in Europe now, but so we have different thoughts. So maybe I will stop sharing because it takes more enough time, and maybe I will say a couple of words about Venice Biennale, about Ukrainian pavilion in Venice Biennale this year.
If I may, Oksana, on this work of art, so you are working with these artists,
yes,
you know
yes.
them, and to me it looks very complicated to be an artist in the midst of the war. You get a whole new concept of action painting, so to say. So you have to find a voice to something that's so direct for you. Is that something you discuss with them? Because I can imagine that it would be very important. Also, if you think about memory, past history, and so on, which is also your speciality, to reflect on what you experience in that, and why and what are you painting, so to say. What do you discuss with that with them?
Sure. And artists are very conscious of the situation which they want to reflect, and many artists speak about creation of the knots of memory. So maybe they see their task, their mission, not only to work through their own emotions, their shock, their their fears, yes, because the war is dreadful. They think about these knots of memory. These knots of creation of this path of memory, because memory is chaotic process. Yes, and now when we are in situation, it seems for us that we will remember all the moments of this reality now. In a month, we will not remember this day, and our memories will transform very much. And for example, Pavel Markov, the painter, the artist who created Ukrainian their project for Ukrainian pavilion on Venice Biennale this year, he absolutely overloaded the senses of his work. This project has a name, the Fountain of Exhaustion. And this project was the the competition for the Ukrainian pavilion, it was happened last year. It was not connected with the war at all, and they decided to take Pavel Markov's work, Content of Exhaustion. This work, this project was developed from 90s. It is a very, very long, long project, and it's a project of it's a visualization of the process of exhaustion. Mm-hmm. So the water is going by so few streams and goes for nothing. And when the war started, Pavel Markov was in Kharkiv. And he said, I will not move from my city. It's my city and I will stay here. And he spent in Kharkiv nearly a month. And he said, all the plans about the Biennale and something, it's bullshit now. No, we don't, I'm not thinking about it. And curatorial team said, we must do it. We must do this project. It's our task. It's our message to Europe. And it's a curatorial team from 3 curators, and one of curators, Lisa German, she said, it's exhaustion of humanity.
Yeah.
And these words were not prepared. She said it at the meeting of the team of Biennale when they decided what to do, and she said it's exhaustion of humanity. And Markov said, yes, it's the meaning of my work. It's the meaning of my work. All these years before, we don't need them now. It's about the exhaustion of humanity. And so it was very hard to open this Ukrainian pavilion. It was very hard to produce this project because it's very complicated technically. It's engineering, construction. And it was necessary to find new people in Italy to produce it, to how to do it, but they made it. And Markov came in Venice to the opening of Biennale and said that now we all are fighting. Now we all on the front. And when she was asked, it's Biennale, it's a space of dialogue, it's a space of conversation. Will you go to dialogue to representatives of Russia? So our own dialogue is in front now. When the war will after our victory, maybe we will start some dialogues. Now, only in front, it's the alone place where we can meet. So it was a very powerful message, and we hope that people from different countries, because Biennale is place of meeting of people from different countries, that they listened this message. So for Pavel Markov, now his old project is a project about creation of memory. Creation of memory and fixing this situation of exhaustion of humanity, and how can we live with it, and how can we imagine the world after this war.
Yeah.
I have a question about, art is not only what our artists produce in the war, but art is also something that Russian Empire also uses to support their own memory, well, not to say memory, but their own historical myths, so to say. And Odessa, in this sense, is always played as one of these cards that Odessa is a Russian city. It's a former imperial metropolitan. It's one of the cities that belong to the Russian identity. How does that go together today with Odessa and this unfortunate common past with the Russian Empire, especially with the symbolic representation?
Yes, thank you for this question, because it's a very important question for people in Ukraine, because regrettably many people in Ukraine believe that Putin started the war because some people in Ukraine speak Russian, for example. Now, Putin started war because he's a criminal. But the symbolic power of this common past is really very, very important, because sometimes people inside Ukraine, inside Odessa, for example, they don't know how to work with it, how to speak about it. And really, I see now the necessity not to refuse from this imperial past of Odessa, for example, but to work through and to work very attentive, because this mythology of Russian city, Odessa became a Russian city only after the Second World War. It was never a Russian city. The first lingua franca in Odessa at the end of 18th century, at the beginning of 19th century, lingua franca was Italian. When Russian poet Pushkin came to Odessa, he wrote in his letters to his friends, "I can't find no one Russian book in Odessa. It was city with no Russian books. It was city with no Russian language. Yes, it was official language of power, but we have too much different communities here. Italians, Greeks, German, people different, people from Switzerland, Poles. So many different people. And Soviet political repressions and Holocaust killed this multicultural and multilingual nature of Odessa. And after this, the myth of Russian city became possible. Before, at the time of empire, Russian Empire always looked at this city with suspicion. They didn't trust this city. And I found even few directives of powers of Russian Empire to not to allow young specialists to go to work to Odessa, because it's a city with a very strange mood. It's a city of sin, it's a city of commerce with no, as they wrote, with no real warm Russian spirit. So when we speak about Imperial Odessa, it's absolutely not a Russian city. When Mark Twain came to Odessa, he recognized United States. He sat on the Ribasovskaya, he ate sorbet, and said and wrote, "I feel myself at his home." It's not Russian Empire. It was no spirit of Russian Empire here. So we need to use it. We need to use it now to show that this mythology of Russian city is false. And even we speak about such people mythology, so such not official narratives, but myths which we use. If you will go to excursion around Odessa, you will obligatory hear the legend about bribe. The bribe which launched the Odessa trade, because at the beginning of the city, Odessa had no haven, and they need money to build it. And Emperor Paul, he was not interested in trade, he was not interested absolutely in all these things, and he said that I will not give money. He's not interested. It's bullshit. All this Mediterranean trade, it's not interesting. And Odessa merchants prepared a gift to Emperor, 2,000 oranges, and sent them to St. Petersburg, and he gave money. Odessans built heaven, and they gave this money back. So it's a city mythology. We're not depend from the state. All that we do by our own hands. It's city mythology, and it's very important as for me. We ought to work with this layer of mythology. It's about us.
It's about what someone said when I was in Odessa. He said, Odessa is Odessa. So.
Yes. It's a state inside the state, but.
And how about Odessa and its identity today? Is it different now? Do people see their role in Ukraine somehow different? Do they see the role of the region? Because we were really amazed with what happened in when the Russians wanted to get Odessa through the trade unions building in. And the entire Odessa resisted that. They didn't allow this to happen.
Yeah.
And what we really see is a really spirit of bravery, and also really a spirit of patriotism. And is it really different now how Odessa sees itself in its role in this war and maybe in the region?
It seems to me that from 2014, when Odessa stopped Russian spring in Ukraine, It's absolutely obvious what is the image of future for the city. The city show that we don't want to allow some Odessa People's Republic or something, or to unite with Russia as Crimea and so on and so forth. And the wide-scale war, which started in February of this year, really deepened this spirit. So now we see the very high level of solidarity inside Ukraine, inside Odessa. And as I said, we are very thankful for Mykolaiv. It's our neighbor city. And it seems to me that now we see forming of some new variety of regional identity. Because earlier it was Odessa identity. Odessa is the main city in the world, and all other cities are something not very important. Yes, and Mykolaiv is a small city. It was powerful as a shipbuilding city and so on and so forth, but last years this industry was developed. And from Odessa, the glance to Mykolaiv was always some paternalistic. You are small city near our great city. And now this feeling that Mykolaiv defends Odessa, and we are alive due to Mykolaiv, creates some new variety of regional identity. And I even listened a very interesting message. So maybe you know, it's such we have such name, Odessa Mama, Odessa Mother. Yes, and people very often use these construct, Odessa Mama. And this construction goes from the end of 19th century from criminal mythology. It's really from criminal mythology. Now it's some touristic Odessa Mama. And if Odessa is mother, we ought to have father. The father city was Rostov. Mm-hmm. A city in Russia, in South Russia. And now I listened very strange phrase. Mykolaiv father defend Odessa mother. Mm-hmm. So this mythology is reloaded, can be reloaded. I don't know how it will root it in our conscience. We don't know, but I catched such messages, and maybe we will go out of this criminal mythology and reload our regional identities, and not only Mykolaiv but Kherson. It's a city which is now in occupation, and it was occupied, regrettably it was occupied in first days of the war, and many people in Odessa have relatives in Kherson and in this region, so On a personal level, we always were very connected, but nobody in Odessa was ready to see Kherson as a city on one level with Odessa. It's a small city. It's very not so bright, not so visible. Yes, the map. And after occupation, people in Kherson organized so powerful Ukrainian demonstrations. They were ready to go against people with weapons, with guns. They went with Ukrainian flags, and these extremely brave people are inspiring us all in all Ukraine, not only in Odessa. But in Odessa, we have many people from Kherson, many refugees. So the most part of our refugees are from Kherson. And we have now this sense of common destiny is absolutely palpable. So for us, this maybe new regional identity are starting now. So many people from Kherson came to Odessa and they said, we will wait liberation of Kherson here in Odessa because it's not far. They don't go to Europe, they don't go to other countries or other cities of Ukraine because Odessa is not so far, it's near. And they feel themselves ready to go home here. And it's very inspiring. It's very inspiring for us too, and we feel this solidarity with them too.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story, Oksana. Also, how this mythology, so to say, can change almost overnight, so to say. And
yes.
I keep thinking while you were telling us about the Biennale and the refusal to dialogue, because we are at the front. We are at the exhaustion of mankind. And I think this is a very powerful statement, so to say, also to the Biennale, because it means that there is no innocent art today. So it changes all art yesterday too. But it's a bit over the top maybe, but if you now look at the Mona Lisa, you should look at it in a different way. There should something cut in it, so to say, because you can't make it nice anymore because we are all at the front. I think this is a very, and the same thing if this is the we and it's the front, and we are all at the front. And the same counts, of course, for Odessa and Mykolaiv and Kherson. We are all at the front. Yeah. So I'm very much looking forward to what kind of art it will kind of produce. So this statement. So it's yeah, I think very important thing happening also, and I can imagine happening in Odessa with its special history. This also can be a kind of a very important contribution to art in itself. So it's like I was preparing this discussion, and I wrote some time ago about Goya, Disastres, the Los Disastres, these terrible plates, immensely direct, so you can't look at it because without shivering, so today, and this also changed something. It changed basically the idea of a nice enlightenment, because it showed such a cruelties. So, and I don't think you should produce a Goya now. But what struck me in the paintings you showed just is that they are so direct, in a sense, so direct, like Goya. So really direct. It's really on your screen, so to say. And so every artist today is a kind of hiding and guiding memory, so to say, without that you have any opportunity to be that, let's say do that in a nice way.
Maybe I can. It's not a realized work, but I can say a couple of words about plans of one artist who told about her ideas. She told us that when she saw these pictures of fields with these points from missiles, she said, I feel it as the body of the land, and I want to heal it. I want to bring a plant, a tree to each this hole from missile. I want to cover this land, to heal it. So I think the first works of Ukrainian artists are really very direct, but now we see the desire of artists to create something as an instrument of healing, not only to fix this dreadful reality, which creates these reflections to Goya, for example. Yes, they are absolutely transparent, these associations, but we see these ideas how to heal this land and how to use maybe non-anthropomorphic language, because it's a wound, a deep wound of the war. It's not a wound only of people. It's a wound of the land, of the country, of memory, of all our life is wounded now. And maybe our artists will find these ways how to heal these wounds. I hope.
And it's at the same time a mission impossible, I would say. Huh?
Yeah.
But that produces, I think, immensely important art. It's such a mission impossible.
Yeah.
One last thing, I want to ask you about your project, the one that you are doing as the curator of this past, future, and art. It's a glossary that you create together with colleagues around Ukraine, scholars, academicians, and artists. And tell us a few words about what you're really doing. What is this glossary? This is for our friends. We will also put the link to this glossary beneath this recording. But what is this meant for, and how it was changed while the war started?
Thank you. It's my pleasure to speak about my project as far as I can. Past Future Art Project, it's a multi-layered project, and which unite different activities. We organize exhibitions, we organize public discussions. We have experience of organizing of competition for memorial project. And one of our activities is creation of glossary. And it's a glossary of working with memory. It's a glossary of working with past. Why we created? Because we understood that people from different fields, artists, academicians, civil activists, and so on and so forth, all these people are speaking in different language. So maybe when they want to speak about something common, but they have no opportunity, they have no instruments because they don't know the language of one another. And our idea was to create such a glossary to for non-professional audience, to explain for people with no professional background the main terms, the main notions which we use in working with themes connected with memory, with the past, and so on and so forth. Because artists have a wonderful intuition, and they can catch something incredible, but when they try to speak about it, sometimes they are silent because they have no words. People from academy have no experience to work, to communicate with artists because they have other glossary. And our mission was to unite all these people and to create the common field where we all take for ourselves some instruments for working with uncommon for us contexts. So we decided, our first idea, well, we will very quickly create a very short glossary, maybe 10 notions or 15 notions, and when we started to write, then we said, no, we have other plan, absolutely other plan. We will invite specialists from different professional fields to explain for non-professionals some very important and working notions for them. And whom we invited? We invited historians, philosophers, Odesa. We invited Odesa to write articles for our glossary, specialists in international law, specialist in history of art, because it's important. And for us, we didn't think about it, and our colleague said about our glossary, it's a project which works against imperial heritage in Ukraine, because our glossary is Ukrainian. And very often, our specialists in Ukraine use notions from Russian translations. Not always we can use original work and so on and so forth. It's very simple to take Russian translation and use it. And our glossary is Ukrainian, and our colleague said, look, they work against Russian Empire. And we say, wow, really? Really? We try to translate some terms which have no stable tradition of the translation in Ukrainian, for example, implicated subject. So my favorite example, the notion of implicated subject proposed by Michael Roder. It was very hard to translate it into Ukrainian. It was very hard, really, because we have no instruments in Ukrainian to explain, to catch all the meanings. And we decided, okay, we can't find the ideal translation, but we can propose some translation, and professional audience will react. And maybe they will propose in reaction for our translation. Maybe other people will propose something better, and we will change. Yes, we will change our idea. So when the war started, we understood that we need to work with our glossary further, and we made the main accent on notions connected with international law. And we saw it as instrument of creation of resilience of Ukrainian society in situation of shock, of trauma, and so on and so forth. We added to our glossary such the articles, aggression, the crime of aggression, genocide, crime against humanity, war crimes. We're preparing article devoted to tribunals, international tribunals, and so on, because this situation of injustice against Ukraine creates such a desperation. Yes, and when we say, look, it's possible to punish these people. It's possible to punish people who create propaganda, for example. It's possible to punish war criminals. And look, international law prepared such documents. They work or don't work, and but it's possible. And we're not alone. And international community look at this situation and create some instruments. So now international tribunal is possible. Yes, we have a decision. We have a decision about creation of tribunal for Russian aggression against Ukraine. So in this field, we communicate. We have collaboration with wonderful specialists in international law. And one of our authors is now a judge of International Court of Justice, and our author Anton Karievich is a representative of Ukrainian delegation in Hague, in International Court of Justice. So we try to find people who are real specialists in their fields. So I hope that this work is productive and it will have result for Ukrainian society.
Absolutely, and it's really is reflecting the living experience of the Ukrainians. It transforms together as our lives transforms, our life experience transform, and so it will bring meanings to us as well as we will bring our meanings back to it. I hope that it will not only be for everybody, like in a, I think this glossary is good because it's so interdisciplinary. So now me as a philosopher can use some professional terminology, some notions from the international law or from law in general. I use history. So it's a really this a productive field of cooperation, of academic solidarity and of civil solidarity, so to say. Well, thank you very much for this conversation. I hope that the war will be over soon. Meantime, we have to continue. Each of us continues to work in our own field to make it happen sooner. To make it happen, finish sooner. And thank you for sharing with us these thoughts and ideas. And I hope it will also make our listeners and the audience that watches to think about the situation in Ukraine from a different perspective, maybe to bring up something of their own artistic work to really become a world of unity.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this invitation, and it's very inspiring to know about such initiatives, because we here inside Ukraine feel that we're not alone, and that there are some windows for different countries to see and to speak with us and to share our common experience. Really, I'm absolutely agree with Ruth that this war changed all us in each country, in each city.
Absolutely, and you are doing this for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was nice. So this is our after talk. So I'm very much looking forward to see more of the art. So maybe there is an opportunity that you can we create something like a tour or something like that. Oh, that would be nice. So yeah.
It's great. Maybe I didn't prepare some presentation because I didn't know what will be the direction of our talk, and maybe I can send some pictures, and maybe you can insert
Yes.
them into
Yeah.
the final video. Yeah.
Yes, a very good idea. You can even send us the pictures you showed us, because we can then make them full screen and we hear you talking.
Normally,
yeah. And that would be very nice. And if you maybe you can also send us something about the Biennale, because you told so very beautiful things about this, and I found it a very, very powerful statement also about the artist, a sense of the staying. Let's say this we are now all at the front, and we have to stay there, and well, all these kind of things which you said. So and if you can send something about that, we could also put it in the edited version.
Maybe if I will find a video or press conference where Pavel Markov said these words, I will send. I think they placed. So I will try to find, because I looked this press conference online, but I'm sure that it's they have record, and it's really very powerful. I had some thoughts and I lost it now.
You know what would be good if you send also the names of the artists, and if there are names of the works, or if there are no names of the work, that's okay, just names of the artists. So we even put maybe the names on the beneath.
No problem. Yeah,
that was very interesting conversation. Thank you.
Yeah. I always, when all these conversations, when they are really good, I have the idea, well, we should continue with the next time. So I should do, and there will be a next time. I'm sure about that.
I hope that we will have opportunity to meet in Odessa and to speak about all these in Odessa.
Yeah.
In other situations.
Yes, of course. Yeah, and there will be. Okay, shall we finish now?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much, and
thank you very much.
Somehow, but definitely we see each other again. Bye bye, Oksana.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.